Hey everybody.
Welcome to HopTopics, where we talk about movies and beer.
Beer.
My name is Matt.
I'm Cameron.
And we're talking about Toy Story 4, as well as this beer that we have.
The Campfire Stout from High Water Brewing. But we'll get back to that later. Let's talk about Toy Story, man.
Yeah, Toy Story. Yeah. It was a good movie. I mean, like, I had, you have high expectations from Pixar. It's a Pixar movie.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you have high expectations for these movies.
Yeah, but usually your high expectations are paid off pretty well. And this is no exception.
Oh, yeah.
This was fantastic.
Yeah, it was a great movie. Like, heartfelt through and through. It was just wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Overall, I mean, it's exactly what I expected from Toy Story. I think it's actually one of the funnier Toy Story movies out of all of them. Well, I still didn't see 3. I know.
Blasphemy.
I know. But, yeah, overall, funnier. Story was great. Really liked it.
Yeah. I mean, they introduced new characters in it as well, and like they utilize them all very well and make you fall in love with the new characters. Is just one more thing that they're really good at is developing the character, and even if it's a new character that you not really have a connection with, they grow on you.
Yeah,
real quickly.
They do make it work really well with how they throw in a new character and right away it feels like they definitely fit into the whole ensemble of the crew,
Mm.
But yeah, what was it about?
Basically, it follows, after Toy Story 3, Bonnie goes to school, she makes a new friend, and this new friend is basically, doesn't understand why it's there, and it wants to, be thrown away, essentially, it feels it's supposed to. And
I mean, should mention that it's literally made out of stuff pulled out of the garbage.
it's literally a spork.
It's a spork with some googly eyes and, well,
the bendy yarn stuff.
Yeah. And a broken in half, plastic. Not plastic, but
wooden popsicle stick.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then it basically follows Woody trying to convince this, Sporky. Or Forky. Forky.
Yeah.
That it's a toy.
Although it was a spork.
It was a spork.
Let's clear that up. His name's Forky, but that's just because little girls are not very smart.
Exactly.
But I mean, just little children in general. I didn't mean little girls specifically.
So much hate.
So much hate.
But
comment section blowing up right now.
Seriously though, it's basically Woody trying to let this toy know that it's her favorite toy, and she needs Forky there.
Yeah.
And then it just run into all kinds of basic Toy Story shenanigans.
Yeah, the whole getting separated. All right, let's find our way back, and obstacles, and all right, let's overcome that. And then, oh wait, we didn't get back yet.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the same Toy Story shtick is still there, but I think the new characters are fantastic.
Oh yeah, every single one of them was great.
Yeah, they didn't really utilize older characters as much, like a lot of the older, B characters from the original toys. But I think what they did do was still pretty great.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that aside, they still use all the characters very well. The story is really well paced. Everything's really well written. There's great comedy. Everything's very well timed. Everything's very, very from the heart, and you definitely get an emotional connection with everything that's going on in this movie. It's It's a very, very good movie.
Yeah, and it's a Pixar movie, and it's a Toy Story movie, so it's gonna tug on your heartstrings a little bit. You may shed a single manly tear, but yeah.
Yeah, like you a lot of the people that did see Toy Story 3, you got emotional from that one as well. So it's they do it again in this movie, but it's a little more touching.
Yeah, and absolutely genuine. Nothing forced or anything like that.
No, not at all.
That was nice.
Yeah.
It's nice reviewing a movie that's actually good. I mean, not that the other movies were bad, but so far we haven't really been picking Oscar winners.
Yeah, and they're definitely not nominees for anything. What would you give this rating? What would you rate this movie?
Alright, so out of our rating system, see it in theaters, wait for the cheap day, wait for the DVD, Netflix release, movie theater, movie channels, whatever. This is absolutely go see it in theaters, especially if you got kids or if you're a big fan of Toy Story, from the past and everything. I'm absolutely see this in theaters. I'd be willing to go see it again.
Oh
absolutely.
Yeah, definitely,
100%.
definitely. I mean, even if this is the first Toy Story movie that you've seen, or you take your kids to, or if you've grown up with these movies, it's great. You definitely go see it in the movie theaters. It's spot on. You definitely won't regret it. Yeah, I would definitely go see this movie again.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
I mean, knowing us, we might.
Yeah,
we'll probably.
We'll probably
probably see it again.
All right, man.
Yeah.
So tell me about this beer.
This beer, man. So this is a Campfire Stout from Highwater Brewing, and Highwater Brewing's out of Lodi, California, so north of here. But this being the first stout, this is pretty good.
Yeah.
This is good. Campfire, it's trying to give you that kind of almost s'moresy flavor profile to it, with a little, not really smoke, but something kind of reminiscent of that. I think you get from the stout. It's actually brewed with graham crackers and molasses,
which is interesting.
I don't know how well you can see the color on this thing, but this thing is black, like blacker than the blackest black times infinity.
But it is so good.
It is so good. Graham cracker, I absolutely taste that, and molasses, like crazy.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
So if you're not super into that, maybe pass on this one, but I love it.
Yeah, it's got a nice sweet taste to it. It's not as heavy as a lot of stouts feel, but it's definitely very full on flavor.
Yeah, I've definitely had more full-bodied stouts, but the flavor's absolutely there. And 6.5% alcohol, not really high. That's usually in your high pale ales, your lower to mid range IPAs. But I could definitely down a few of these.
Yes.
And let that 6.5% work its way over a couple bombers.
Yes, definitely, most definitely.
But independent brewery. If you like stouts, and graham crackers and molasses sound like a thing, absolutely check this thing out. What would you say? Would you rate the beer? Give it give it a 4.5.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, 4.5. Yeah, I'd say 4.5. Buzz Lightyears to infinity and beyond.
4.5 sporks that are called forks.
Yes.
Alright, but with that, we are going to move on to our spoiler section. So, if you haven't seen the movie, and you want everything to be a surprise, turn it off now.
Yes, turn away. There you go.
surprisingly chuggable too.
Yeah, it's really smooth. It's
Yeah.
very nice.
I mean, it's a little bit warm.
Well, yeah.
Drinking a stout. Closer to room temperature, you know. Get slightly chilled so that it's not like warm and gross, but you know, slightly chilled is actually the best way to taste
Oh, most definitely.
a beer in general. Unless it's like an IPA, then you really want it kind of cold. Or really cheap.
Yeah.
You definitely want it cold.
Yeah, exactly.
But anyways.
Spoilers. The beginning of the movie, they basically, they're trying to save RC.
Mm-hmm.
They make it, but at the same time, you see Bo Peep get donated or given away to another family, essentially.
Yeah.
And then that gives the explanation in between 2 and 3 what happened. And then it gives you little flashbacks forward through like Andy growing up, and then Andy giving all his toys to Bonnie, and then to where we are now. And you see Woody is not being played with. He's not
as part of the main group of toys that get used anymore. He's relegated to the closet more often than not.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and he definitely notices it. You definitely can tell that there's a tone change with that, and you feel really bad for the character. They definitely make you feel for these characters.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Woody. I mean, he's been the toy since the beginning. So it's
exactly,
you know, seeing that he's becoming that old toy that just doesn't get used. You know, like Jessie gets used.
Yeah.
In Woody's role, essentially, as a toy, because, you know, Bonnie's a little girl and Jessie's a girl cowboy, so, you know, it's understandable that Woody would kind of fall to the wayside a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, like, and then Woody goes with Bonnie to school, and that's when, you know, Forky is created.
Mm-hmm.
And at the beginning, it was like kind of weird. Like,
well, real quick, just go into why that's kind of significant in that, you know, Bonnie's afraid of going to school. She doesn't know anybody. She's, you know, afraid of meeting new people. Shy kid.
You know, like kids are.
Like kids are, and a lot of kids probably experience this when they first go to school, where, you know, being, you know, left there by their parents.
Yeah.
So, you know, she's having trouble and then thinks the kid's gonna come, you know, hang out with her, and then he just grabs the supplies and walks away, and then bumps into the trash can, and the stuff that falls out is what becomes
Forky. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the characters essentially through a lot of the movie dealing with an existential crisis, because he's not used to being called a toy. He's he's a
his
sport.
Existence was to be a utensil.
Exactly, which he mentions. He mentions that in the movie too. Like
and it's a funny moment too.
It really is.
Just before he kamikazes himself.
right out the window. Right out the window.
Right out the window.
And like all of this is set up with a lot of comedy and like Woody trying to, you know, keep Bonnie happy, and it's just it's very well done, and like you don't get bored of seeing each one of these things happen. Really, I mean, it's just each one of them's funny.
Yeah, and so Woody, who snuck into Bonnie's backpack to kind of keep an eye on her and, you know, kind of be there for her if she has any trouble, notices how much this Forky has, you know, kind of helped her out, made her happy, and became really important to her. And so it's become Woody's mission to keep Forky from doing what he keeps doing, which is throwing himself out. He keeps calling himself trash.
That's like literally the only word that he says for like the first 5 minutes.
5 minutes. He screams and he says trash.
Yep.
And Yeah, it's pretty funny.
It is.
Man, the jokes were on point for this movie.
They
man.
really were.
There were some really good ones. I mean, there were a couple points where I laughed out loud.
Right.
You know? Right at the end during the credits. Oh man, I can't wait till we get to Duke Kaboom because
yeah, his character was great.
his character was great. Every scene he was in, he just like steals the spotlight.
Exactly. He really did. Like he was a great character. But before that, they're basically like after when the family goes on a road trip essentially before school actually starts, Forky ends up flinging himself out the back window of the RV.
Back window of the RV.
And so Woody also goes out the back and ends up falling on the street trying to find him. Where he ends up walking him and convincing him that, Bonnie needs you. Bonnie sees you as
kind of
a
telling
toy.
him the roles of how to be a toy, like what it means to be a toy.
Yeah.
And in a funny moment, like Forky's describing what trash what it means to him. It's it's warm and it's comfy and it's it's everything you ever want. Squishy.
Sometimes.
Yes. Sometimes. And Woody compares that to the feeling that kids get when they have their toys.
They have their toys, yeah.
So Forky reluctantly but inevitably, comes to terms with what it's like to be a toy and not really how he came to be a toy because that's just kind of implied.
Yeah.
In the whole, you're a toy because she said you were a toy, and now you're alive.
Yeah. Yeah, they were kind of vague on that whole like why he's alive over any other spork or anything really. Mm-hmm. They were really kind of vague. They kind of allude to it being the fact that he's got the owner's name on them.
Yeah, they do mention that a handful of times throughout the movies. Yeah. She writes her name on his little sticks.
Stick legs, yeah.
Stick feet.
Yep.
And
so I think that they kind of try to say that might have a hand in it, but there never really is a clear 100% answer.
Every toy in the series, I think it's just that she made it to be a toy, essentially. Yeah. Or to have the same sort of role as a toy, and so, she basically, God just created life and just turned a regular spork into a living being.
Yeah.
Bonnie is God. Bonnie's God.
Bonnie is God.
Bow down to our new overlord.
Yeah, I mean, and then they reach town. Woody sees the lamp that Bo Peep was on. In an antique store, and so they go in trying to find her, and that's when you meet
the most terrifying characters of all time.
They're all a bunch of ventriloquist quiz dummies, and they all look the same, and they're all terrifying.
Man, I mean, if you've ever seen those old Goosebumps, the old Goosebumps show with the ventriloquist dummies, read the books, I remember there being a short, I think it was on Are You Afraid of the Dark with the ventriloquist dummies. If you've ever seen any of those, you probably have some sort of low-tier, terrified feeling about ventriloquist dummies. And these things do not help that at all.
Exactly.
But they do it in a semi-funny way so that it's okay.
Yeah, but you get more and more creeped out by these things.
Yeah.
The farther into the movie
more they
you
do
get.
it, the more they do it, the more creeped out you get.
Exactly.
But it also kind of adds to how funny it is.
Exactly.
So.
They play off that terrifying nature as well too. It's very well developed.
And the ones in the little baby carriage,
carriage.
and it flips over. And the lady sees it, she just freaks out.
Just screams in the
dude,
middle
that's
of
what I would do too. I would totally freak out if I saw a freaking ventriloquist dummy that dipped out of a random dashing baby stroller
Yeah, exactly.
and tipped over. You know, like, that's what was in there?
That's
why was
terrifying.
it on its own?
Why was it moving?
Where did this come from? So many questions. That's another thing we have to get to. Oh wait, no, that's actually at the beginning. I have so many questions. Like, literally all of the questions.
That was a great quote.
Yeah.
Yes.
When Forky is first introduced to the rest of the toys, there's like this like Triceratops toy, and really talkative, really, fast talking, and just like, I have a question. Actually, I have a lot of questions. I have all of the questions.
Exactly, like we said, the comedy is very well timed and perfect throughout this entire movie. It's great.
It is, and a lot more than what I remember from other Toy Story movies.
Yeah,
I mean, there was definitely comedy in
they're definitely
Toy Story movies. I mean, y'all remember Buzz Lightyear holding up his one arm and,
Mrs. Nesbit.
Mrs. Nesbit. Classic.
Exactly. Yeah, and then like that introduced like when you're in the antique store, you eventually meet Gabby, who's trying to get Woody's voice box so she can have hers fixed, essentially.
Yeah.
Which they also don't explain that either.
Women.
Well, like it's his voice box.
Well, she still has the disc inside of hers.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but like his is like half the size of hers because he's like half the size of her.
Well, yeah, probably, but
so it's just a big old disc, like.
It might not be that big in hers either. It might be the same exact style of voice box, just different discs for different voices.
True. Yeah.
But yeah, that whole thing's developed where she wants to get Woody to replace her voice box so that it works properly.
So she can, have her owner, essentially.
So she can be fully functional. She was defective out of the box.
Yep.
We find out later in the movie. And that she, was never a kid's toy.
Yeah.
So became an antique, got stuck in an antique shop, and basically became somewhat of a mob boss to ventriloquist dummies.
Yeah. Creepy dummies. So creepy. And then they make it out. Woody makes it out.
Woody makes it out.
Forky ends up getting captured.
Forky gets captured as a hostage in order to get Woody to come back.
Woody meets up with Bo Peep.
Yep.
And they end up making their way back and meeting up with other toys that are in there in the antique store. And that's when you meet Duke Kaboom, which is by far the coolest name.
Yeah. And also voiced by Keanu Reeves.
Everybody's favorite actor right now.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's the internet's boyfriend. So.
Exactly. He's a great person. But yeah, he plays the role perfectly too. Like everything is so timed perfectly for this character.
But he's a Canadian daredevil.
Yes.
And his catchphrase is "Yes, you Canada." But yeah, every scene he's in, he steals.
Oh,
it's
totally.
wonderful. Like, funny every single time he's on screen.
Exactly. And while this is happening, Buzz is also trying to help by sneaking out of the RV, and then he end up putting on a wall to be one at the carnival that's happening, and that's when you meet Key and Peele's characters, which are great characters. They're so funny.
They
play off of each other so well. It's
perfectly.
Great.
So they're attached at the hand.
Yeah.
And they're a pair, so they're not really stuck together. But man, they're hilarious. Every time they like there's always a scene with them where they're talking about something, but you don't realize it's them talking about something until all of a sudden they attack random human.
They attack the human.
And then it cuts back, and like this is when they're making plans to try and get something from a human.
Yeah.
And Buzz is like, no, we're not doing that.
And oh.
Well, you just keep saying no without giving me an actual reason. Super funny.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like, they form a group trying to get Forky out of there, and then they eventually get out without. They end up leaving Forky there again.
Again.
And then Woody eventually gives up his voice box for Gabby, so she can actually work and try and get
chosen by a kid, and go home with. She's fantasizing over a specific kid.
Yeah.
One that kind of looks like her. Red hair.
Yeah.
And the kid happens to always take out toys from the antique shop in the first place.
Yeah.
So it's like, and she gets seen. She's obviously going to get picked. And then in one of the more heartbreaking scenes, it's like the little girl picks her up, and the old lady who's her grandma that runs the shop is like, oh, you can take her home if you want. It's like, nah.
It just throws her in a box with a bunch of blocks.
Oh, so sad.
And you're just like you just see the expression on her face, and it's just so hurtful.
Oh yeah, and can I just allude to the animation real quick?
Serious.
Because it's like there are scenes where it's obviously that classic Pixar animation, and then there are scenes where it's all like, is this a real movie?
Yes, it's like, are these actual dolls moving? Actual
more,
toys?
No, I mean more like some of the opening of the movie.
Oh yeah, with the rain.
Street,
yeah,
like that looked.
That looked like it looked like
real.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Dude, when the machines take over and they have some sort of Matrix-esque thing, they're gonna be perfect.
We are so screwed.
Yeah, we're so screwed. Matrix is coming.
Yeah, Matrix is coming. We're all gonna die.
Yeah.
We're all just batteries.
Don't worry, Bonnie will save us. But anyways, Woody does give up the voice box.
They end up.
Gabby ends up getting rejected, and Woody's idea is that, hey, we're trying to go back to Bonnie. Let's take you with us, because that's how you get toys. They spontaneously just multiply in your RV.
Yeah, exactly. Like they suddenly spawn, and you have no idea where it comes from. But you're a child, and you think, I have more toys. What the hell?
I mean, I wouldn't have ever complained as a kid if I had just randomly got a new toy. It just kind of walked into my life. I'm like, oh, cool.
And then
this is awesome.
And then
especially if they were Power Rangers.
And then you get to the real, heartfelt moment where Woody decides to leave.
Yeah. So throughout the whole movie, well, not the whole movie, but when Woody's with Bo Peep, is that she explains how, she went to this other family and then they gave it to the antique shop, and then she became essentially a lost toy when she decided to just leave. And, she's been enjoying life freely, being a free toy and being able to just alright, go play with a kid here and there at playgrounds or inevitably the carnival. But, there's a moment at the beginning of the movie where when she's being given away that Woody's considering going with her, but then Toy Story 3 wouldn't have happened.
Yeah, exactly.
And he knows he's still really important to Andy, so he decides to stay back. And then they mirror that same moment later on, where he's about to go with her, and then he goes back, And then he tells Buzz that he's not going back with them.
Yeah.
And that he's going to stay with Bo Peep and, you know, live the life of a free toy.
Yep. It's a real big heartfelt moment, and you definitely feel it. It hits you everywhere. I mean, like, if you follow these movies from the beginning, like, you know that this is really hard for Woody to admit to himself.
Yeah.
And it just hits you so hard, and it's so well done. It's great. And yeah, like, I almost cried. It was good.
I shed a couple tears in the movie.
It was good. It was a really, really good heartfelt moment, and
You know what I actually really, like, it was choking me up quite a bit, was, so they're trying to get Woody, Forky, and Gabby to Bonnie, and they're going through the carnival, and we get another amazing scene with Duke Kaboom saying, like, oh, I can't do this jump. Okay, I'm going to do this jump. With my eyes closed. And you're just like, wait, what? And so, that was hilarious. But there's a moment where Gabby sees this little girl who's lost at the carnival all alone, and, you know, realizes that that's where she should be, and that's where she needs to take her chance, is that, you know, it's her future isn't with Bonnie, it's with this girl who's, you know, scared and alone.
Yeah.
And just watching that scene, I'm just like, you go, girl. You go. You got this. You can do this. Yeah.
Yeah, that was really hard.
Yeah.
Like,
that
I mean,
one
like,
really got me.
I mean, yeah, exactly. I mean, like, when I was a little kid, like, yeah, I mean, you sometimes lose your way, and you lose sight of your parents when you're a kid, sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know, not necessarily in a bad way, but I mean, like, you're not paying attention, and they also wander off thinking you're right there, and then you look around and they're gone, and you end up walking in the opposite direction of where they're going.
Yeah.
And then you try and find somebody to help you out, and it just so happened that Gabby was the one who helped this little girl, you know, find her way back to her parents. And yeah, it was very heartfelt and very nice.
It was.
Yeah. I mean, this really does hit you in the childhood feels, because you can relate to a lot of things that are happening in this movie, and it's really nice to go back to that.
It is. Let's talk about the credit scenes, because that had my absolute favorite joke. That was kind of a slightly layered joke. Was you know, earlier in the movie, Key and Peele's characters talk about their plan to get the key from the old lady, and every time it ends with them attacking her, and they do a similar thing, like, all right, now that we've helped all these toys at the carnival find kids,
what do we do now?
What are we gonna do now? And then it cuts to them, you know, like, attacking the guy who runs the carnival game, and then shooting laser eyes and breathing fire, and growing 10 times her size. Like, well, I guess 100 times her size, probably. I'm not being mathematically correct in this.
Yes, it would have been tricky.
But after they say that, Keanu Reeves, Duke Kaboom, is like, you can shoot lasers from your eyes? He's like, yeah. Whoa. I laughed out loud there.
Oh, totally.
I was so happy about that.
Oh.
And then, like, so good.
And then the thing at the end of the movie where it shows the Disney logo with the castle and everything, and then it shows the Pixar logo, and instead of the lamp coming out, it's Duke Kaboom, and he's bouncing on
it, and he
bounces on the eye, and he still squishes it like the lamp still does.
Mm-hmm.
But
and then you get one of the best payoffs, which, if you have seen the movie, you know what it is. If you haven't, I don't want to spoil that for you, because It's actually one of my favorite parts
It
of the whole
actually,
movie.
right? It actually really is. It's a great part, and the
Yeah.
payoff is totally there. You should
Absolutely.
totally stay for the whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
So-
Absolutely.
But yeah, so that about wraps it up. So
Here's to you.
here's to me,
Friends for life shall always be.
and if by chance we disagree,
Well then, screw you. Here's to me. Thanks for watching. See you next time.
cheers.